Take just a minute. And we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody, welcome to the weekend edition of the Strategic Swing Trader. I'm Sami Abusad, Director of Education at T3 Live. Hope you're doing well. And as always, thanks for tuning in. We're going to be getting started. We're going to be talking about the market, taking a look at the market, and we're going to review some swing ideas for next week. But before we start, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss today is for educational purposes only. Also, if you're interested, if you'd like to download a free copy of my ebook, link is in the description. Again, a free copy of my ebook. Link is in the description. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about the market first. So here's the QQQ, which is the tracking ETF for the NASDAQ 100. As you can see, I've turned bearish ever since that day, topped out. We've been, it's been bearish, but it hasn't been a tight pattern. It's up and down, up and down. So it's been pretty sloppy. The target remains the same, around 260 or so, maybe slightly lower, the rising 20 on the weekly chart. And then if we get there, we can talk about, and we'll see what the reaction is. We'll see what the reaction to the rising 20 and the support, what kind of reaction we get. And based on that, we'll decide whether the market drops to the 20 MA on the monthly or not, which I don't expect it to go all the way down to here, but maybe to 240 or so on the Qs. On the SPY, probably, somewhere up there. By the time price catches up to the 20, it'll be up there probably. But for now, let's aim for the 20 MA on the weekly chart. Okay, on the SPY it would be 320 or so. Okay, so that's my target on the Qs. For day to day, to determine the day-to-day bias on the market, first go with the larger picture, with the daily and the weekly charts. And right now, for sure, the trend is down, and we're pointing, the moving average is pointing down, and we're bearish. But also, you can look at the way we close every day, right? Just look at the way we close, and then that should kind of help, especially the Qs for me, that should kind of help tell you whether we're going to gap up or down, because we've been gapping every day almost. So if you look at the Qs here, this is how we closed on Thursday. So Friday we got a small gap up. This is how we closed. So on Thursday on Wednesday we had a buy setup that failed, and so we turned bearish into the close. The next day I was teaching class the whole week last week. That's why my voice is I sound a little weird. Because I almost lost my voice last week from teaching so much. But you see, we turned bearish into the close. The next day we had a gap down. Here we popped a little bit into the close, we gapped up. The day before that, we popped into the close, we gapped up. So the point is, they say, novice people open the market, professional people close the market. So you can look at the way the NASDAQ, the Qs, is closing and be able to some extent predict whether we're going to gap up or down the next morning. But the bias for me remains bearish until proven otherwise, until we break above. On the Qs, it's 282.20, I think I said last week. It's still exactly the same number, 282.20 on the Qs. We would need to take that out for me to turn bullish. And then on the SPY, I think I said 340.62, I think. No, 342. I thought it was 60 something. Oh, there it is. 342.64. So 343.06 actually. This bar is higher. So, we would need to take it out and hold above it before I turn bearish. But the truth is, I just feel like this is a pretty significant top that we got and in the Qs and the SPY. I mean, look at Apple. Look at Apple, especially look at the larger. Look at the monthly. I mean, that looks looks really toppy. Look at Nvidia. Those are some of the biggest names, right? Look at Amazon. Look at Microsoft. That's a pretty good top. Now, of course, we have outside influences. We have the fiscal policy by the government. We have the monetary policy by the Fed. We have other things, vaccine, elections coming up. We have a lot of other things that are coming up that might sway the market one way or the other. But I try not to over-analyze that stuff, and I just go with the price. I go with what the market is telling me, because that's the only objective data that I can read, and that I have, that I don't allow, that I'm objective about, that I don't have a bias about one way or the other, right? So I try to just read the market charts. Now the IWM is holding like a champ. Look at the IWM. Led on the way down, but is holding pretty bullishly. The diamonds is also holding really well. Gold is holding very well. Gold also went climactic on the monthly chart. That's the GLD. Okay, went climactic on the monthly, but it's refusing to pull in. So holding pretty bullishly. Looks like it wants to go higher. Now, having said that, it may pop, but I don't think this is a good idea to be buying gold after such a big move up. But again, I'm not gonna talk you out of it. I do think gold is holding up really well, and it's probably gonna go higher still. But look, I did a video, it's on YouTube, on June 1st, calling gold long to 174. 174.50 is the target I picked for GLD. That's June 1st over here, okay? June 1st. It's on YouTube. And I drew an arrow right to here, and I said about right to there, 174.50. It's above actually my target. So that was really the time to buy gold back then. Maybe over here even. The right entry is always the one that's closer to the moving average, not the one that's far above it. Then you're chasing basically. If you get in way up here, then you're basically chasing. At any rate, gold is holding up pretty well. And we're going to talk about now some swing ideas for next week. If you're a subscriber to my newsletter, The Strategic Swing Trader, feel free to log on to your T3 Live account, go to my portal, and then you can access the sheet, the newsletter for tomorrow. It's already been completed. You'll see that I picked 3 ideas for Monday that I will be putting in my own account, that I'll be trading myself. So feel free to access the newsletter already, or feel free to also wait until Monday morning. You'll get it in your email inbox by 8 a.m. at the latest. With that said, let's go over the list here, the bullish and the bearish list. The list was pasted in the description, copied and pasted into the description of the video, so you don't have to type it up. If you want to just copy it, go to the description of the video and you'll see it in there. We'll start with the bullish list as always. We have AMCX had a really bullish gap. Anytime you end the downtrend with the gap and the gap holds, that's pretty bullish. So it ended the downtrend, is holding bullishly, long over the base, stop below it. Of course, we still have that resistance. So that's the main issue with it, but it looks good to 28 bucks, maybe even higher to the 200 MA on the AMCX. Again, the biggest issue is the resistance. Now, a lot of these little stocks, the small cap stocks, which is my specialty, it's what I like to do, is the small cap stocks, because they move so much, right? And you can back up the truck, as Kramer would say, right? You can load up on shares. They're pushing higher, inching up a little bit. Now, when a stock goes up like this, like crazy, and then gets crushed, it doesn't usually recover. It doesn't go back up. Now, does it go back up a little bit before coming back down? Yes, it can easily. It go up a little bit, but I wouldn't expect it to go all the way up or even up, maybe up to here. That would be the most I would expect. From something like the IBIO, the KODK, maybe up to here, that's 1350, maybe even 15. So they're starting to turn the corner a little bit. I can add a lot more. TLSA, starting to turn the corner a little bit, but again, I'm not saying it's going to go all the way back up. Maybe just to here, maybe a little bit more. I like the TLSA actually more than the other ones. There's a lot more. There's HTBX. I played the TRVN last week. I think this was my best trade last week. Maybe I don't really know. No, EVFM. EVFM was my best trade. TRVN. No, TRVN was not. EVFM. And then also similar to that, I think GTX was a short. So, but I try to play the low price stocks, and then as they turn up. MARA was pretty good, you know, starting, it turned up a little bit and then got hit because it's under the 20. For swing trading, you want the ones that are starting to where the 20 MA is starting to curl up and point up, right? So IBIO is pretty good. KODK looks okay over this bar, stop under it, but don't overstay your welcome. As I said, I don't expect these two to keep going just for a day or two, maybe a little bit more. Like the TRV, and I didn't play it on Friday, unfortunately. I didn't catch it on Friday, but I played it on this day, and so that's the TRV, and almost 4 grand out of 28 for the month. This is a slow month. September is one of the slowest 4 months of the year. September, December, March this year was phenomenal, obviously, but September, December, March, and June are usually the slowest 4 months of the year. So I hope you're surviving they're called the dog days of summer. So I hope you're surviving the dog days of summer here. This has been a slowish month for sure. Next month we get earnings season. It's always slowest before earnings season. The month before earnings season, or the last month of each quarter, is usually the slowest. Always, with the exception of this year, because this year we had coronavirus, of course, in March. So IBIO, KODK, HTBX, DRVN is too late now. You know, so those look interesting higher. There's more. There's like, you know, I have more, but these are the ones that I wanted to share with you. Like this one, MVIS. See this? It's the same picture over the base. That looks actually maybe even better than the other ones. So I have a bunch on a watch list that I will be watching, but I just wanted to share with you a few of those small cap stocks that are starting to look a little bit higher. LKCY, I have to kind of open up the chart for you to see it. This is a daily buy setup. It looks good, with the exception being that it's a deep pullback. So this is a daily buy pullback, and then kind of a breakout right here, long, and stop right here. Of course, it's safer to give to put the stop way down there under the entire pivot, but that's giving it a lot of room. So the tighter the stop, the more shares you can take that you can put on, and the tighter the stop, the more reward to risk you get. Does that make sense? So the tighter the stop, the more shares, and the more reward to risk if the stock were to get to the target. So I usually use the tightest stop possible. So the entry for this would be over 266. The stop would be under 246 on the LKNCY. Would have to trigger, of course, always. This MGNX, wow, impressive bullishness, isn't it? Very, very bullish. It's a 1, 2, 3. So over this bar is a high, stop under the low. NERV, it looks good. I went short the NERV 2 weeks ago, and I had to cover it. I don't know if I lost a little bit or I made money a little bit, or it was about break even. I killed it because the breakdown didn't follow through. It looked really good short as a breakdown, but didn't follow through, and so I trailed it this bar or that bar, somewhere there. So now it looks higher a bit. Have to open up the chart a little bit. It looks higher to the prior high here, to 450, and maybe even to $5, to 450 or $5 on the NERV. And okay, NKLA, I don't like what happened here. Extremely bearish. We had a big gap up, right, and the gap up completely failed. So that's really bearish, no doubt. The daily chart has a declining 20, very bearish. Do I think it's gonna pop for a day or two? Yes, I do, but it would need to take out the base first, which is about $42. So no, I'm sorry, not 40, $35 over about 34.92. So if it takes out the base, then I do expect it to generate some kind of a pop. If the 20 MA wasn't up above and pointing down, I would try it myself. This is just a cute idea that I like, but it's not one of the 3 that I picked for the newsletter and for my own account. So again, over $35 would be the entry, stop right here, and then there's a little bit of resistance there, but that's not much reward to risk over there. So I would just target about $40. That's what I would target on the NKLA. NXTC, very nice but thin. NXTC, notice the breakdown failure right here? That's a breakdown failure. So I like it over the base long. it's very thin means, you know, low volume or illiquid, but I like it as a breakout a lot. On the NXTC Pro is a double bottom. In fact, it's not just a double bottom, it's like a triple bottom. Here, here, and there. So it looks higher. It looks higher. It's not, I don't usually do double and triple bottoms, but it looks higher. Look at the double bottom on the weekly chart. So it just needs to take out 3303. It will trigger the double bottom on the weekly chart. And I think it goes back up to here. So this has a lot of room if you're interested in the Pro as a long. Next on the list is TLSA. We talked about it. It's one of the low price small cap stocks that are looking up, looking higher. And VUZI is very, very bullish. Long over 478, stop under 440 on the VUZI. Okay, this reminds me of the workhorse a little bit, which I played swing last week. I got out at 30.30 on Friday, but it immediately, so where I trailed it to the 20 to the pivot on the 15-minute chart, which is 29. No, I thought it was 29.30. My apologies. 29.30, and then it immediately went back up. So it looks like it's going to continue higher. I was in it from 24.50 or so, from this bar's high, yeah, 24.50. So this is it's going to be an, you know, it's an early exit, I guess, but nice play, but it still looks higher. Shorts, we got AMRN, got crushed. Notice the breakout failure right here. So it tried to go higher and then got hit hard, and it's basing at the lows. Where's it going? I don't have to say anything. It's going down. It's all going down. So this looks lower under the base, stop above it. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the weekly chart. That's what this pattern is called. So the entry for this is under 395. You can also do it under 408, 407, which is this week's low, last week's low. But I'd rather do it under 395 with a stop over 440s should be enough. Okay, on the AMRN, I like it. COMM is just a daily thing. I don't like the weekly. It's a daily sell setup, short, stop, and target. This is not a long-term hold, but you know, it's just a daily sell setup. CRBP broke down and got bought. So only if it breaks down one more time and under 175. I'm not in it, but if it breaks under 175, I think this works. Okay, stop is over 208. Actually, could put the stop just over $2, 198. Let's just say $2. HTZ, I was in it, but shook me out. So I like it as a reshort under about $1.30 by 152, and target being 80 cents. Okay, on the HTZ. Next on the list is MOMO. Remember MOMO a couple weeks? No, not a couple weeks. A couple months ago, I said this looks lower to about $8 or $10. Basically, right here. This should be $9. So, and I said that, but it didn't drop. It just kept, you know, the market has been bullish, so it didn't really go anywhere the last couple months. Tried to go higher, and then out of the blue it dropped hard. I'm not in it, but this looks good. Of course, it's extended, so that's the only issue. But this looks like a disaster is about to happen. Under 1450, stop over 1527, or can put the stop over 1503, and target on this to $9. Okay, 9 or 10. This is 888, so I'd say $9. On the MOMO, I like it, but extended. STSA is similar to the CRBP. Probably looks better. So this under the base, stop above it as a short. So a bunch of ideas there, and a lot more longs. But the shorts look a lot cleaner, and the longs are only, a lot of them are only, I would only be looking to do them for just a day or two. All right, with that said, thank you so much for being here, sticking around till the end. If you found benefit in today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to customer service, info@t3live.com. Again, info@t3live.com. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. If you weren't here at the start of my video, I said you can download a free copy of my ebook. Link for that is in the description. But with that said, have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody.